cybersecurity and is retired from the U.S. military. He served as a special agent. He has performed security assessments for industries and Department of Defense assets for more than 10 years. A nice KRWA welcome for Mr. Marvell.
I guess it's working now. Can y'all hear me in the back?
Yeah.
Oh, I talk so loud. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick demo, and this is just open source. I just need a website. Anybody give me one of your websites, it doesn't matter. I can give you ours and I'll let you show. Huh? What did you say? Upkeep? No, I want your personal website, like city website. What?
cityofmounthope.com.
Okay,
And
perfect.
Marvell, I know you.
Yeah,
I do.
from Mount Hope?
Yep.
Okay. How do you know me?
Astra.
Oh, geez, yeah. Okay. See what it does.
Try it now.
I might have told you the wrong address.
It's
Sorry.
mounthopecity.com.
MountHopeCity.com. Let's try that. See if that works. Okay. So, let me preface this with,
You gotta
Okay.
slow it out in long format, sorry.
okay.
Mount.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry.
Because I was like, it's giving me nothing. And me trying to see this from down here is kind of interesting, so I'm sorry, I apologize. There it goes. Is it working?
I think there's one too many E's.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I want everybody to put on their unethical hacking hats on. Okay, this is the easiest way for a hacker to get into your network. And the only reason why I say this is because I'm going to have enough information from your website to actually tell me what your IP address is, what it's linked to, how secure it is. You're going to get a grade from it. Okay, so the reason why I show this is because this is open source. I didn't ask for permission. I'm not an unethical hacker by any means. I'm an ethical hacker. So I actually will come out and do this type of assessment, but go more in depth with how to get into your network and what is actually open ports or whatever is there. Especially on SCADA systems, this is fun. This is the best way to find out what is on SCADA. Oh, I can find all the open ports through it. Because SCADAs all have some type of open ports, but they're not secure. So right now it's running, the tool's running to 84%. It's probably gonna tell me you might have an A+ score, which is great. I'm gonna show you another one before I start my real presentation, that it's really, to me, something I've been trying to get this city to understand, that everybody has that mindset of it's not gonna happen to us. And you shouldn't have that mentality. The mentality should be of what happens if that happens to us? How can I be better out there and secure it more, have somebody else secure it better for us? It's still running. It takes a little bit. There we go. A+ score, A score. That's good. Mount Hope's actually secure. They got their own domain. But again, with this information, that main IP address, 20.119.128.5, that's their actual IP address for the city. Anything that's linked to the city goes to that address, 100%. From there, I can do other things, which that's where it all starts. And that's what hacking is all about, okay? I'm gonna show you another one real quick. It takes a few seconds for it to run, and then we'll go, sorry, Oxford. I use this one in 3 different states. I've been using it for a couple years. I'm not trying to say that, hey, it's not secure. I just know that they don't have a SCADA system. That's the one thing that I'm like, okay, great. They're still all mechanical. mechanical pumps. Everything that they do is mechanical, it's perfect. No SCADA system, and I'm hoping that before they even think about doing it, they put the SCADA on a separate network. And I'll talk more about that in there a little bit more, but one of the big things that I notice is, as a hacker, that address is linked to, I don't know, probably 45 different addresses out there. And that alternative address, alternative name, all links back to one main IP address. So what happens if one of those addresses gets hacked? That's all, everybody get hacked. Similar situation, Texas had kind of a similar situation happen, where a bunch of different small accounts that all were linked together, and they all got hacked. I'll talk a little bit more about that one too. But that right there is a nightmare for a cyber guy like myself, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if this person gets hacked? That means our stuff is vulnerable, 100%. Even though it has an A- score, again, what else is linked to those other websites? I can have all kinds of different information running through a website, right? I can use third parties for all kinds of stuff. Payment systems, making notifications to other people, having you put your cell phone numbers on the websites. That's a third party that's going through a website. Anything. But again, I'm relying on 40 other people to say that their stuff is secure. That's linked to mine. So, good example, again, that's 75.2.118.107, that's the key to the city of Oxford. But all of the alternative domains have their own too. Okay, so they all buy their own domain, and that's what your domain is linked to. All right. Hope that's a good explanation. Nice back over here. Okay, so welcome to the Water Safety and Security class. Again, he's already said it, I've done well over 10 years, but it's a lot longer than that now. I think when I put that out, that was probably 6 years ago. So I've been in the industry for over 16 years in cyber. I do have a master's degree in cyber, and I've been doing this same type of talks in 3 different states here, Oklahoma, Missouri, to bring awareness to you guys. I'm sit behind the desk and I do this for another company, yes, I own part of WaterWise, but I actually work for another company this is what I secure. I secure cyber assets and stuff for the government, and I have done it for many, many years now. So I have a quick video that will show the body.
Attackers begin with reconnaissance, gather intelligence on SCADA systems, network layouts, and personnel data to map out their targets. Next, they analyze vulnerabilities, pinpointing weaknesses in both operational and information technology systems within the water infrastructure. Exploitation follows, using methods like phishing, malware, or unpatched vulnerabilities to gain unauthorized access to critical systems. Once inside, they work to maintain persistent access, ensuring long-term control from disruption and data exfiltration, often remaining undetected. Finally, attackers cover their tracks, erasing digital footprints to evade detection and attribution within critical infrastructure networks. Water and wastewater facilities are attractive targets due to their critical role in public health, economic stability, and potential for widespread panic. Attackers prioritize targets based on perceived security weaknesses, such as legacy systems, remote access points, and interconnected networks. Motivations vary, from state-sponsored attacks for geopolitical leverage to hacktivism causing public distress and criminal intent for extortion. Understanding these processes and target selections is crucial.
I'll skip the rest of it. So basically, I want to show you that because that was not generated by me, that's AI video, okay? All I typed in was, make me a video talking about how unsafe how people don't believe cyber is a big thing and how ethical hacking affects the water industry, and that's what it spit out was that video. So it's perceived even in the cyber world as it's a big thing. It's AI. I didn't do that. I just typed in a couple words and then let it spit it out. So on the overview here, this is what we're going to go over. We're going to go over a few things. Okay. So I'm going to go over who, of course, I don't know if everybody in here is a customer of WaterWise or who WaterWise is, but I'll talk a little bit about who we are and how we got involved in this industry, and then I'll go into changing environments and things like that. So we'll go into it. So who's from WaterWise? We've been in the industry for over 35 years in water. My wife downstairs is the third generation in water. And before her mother, if anybody knows Diane Patton, who's the guru of phosphates, she's been in the industry for well over 30 years. And then before her was her uncle, Uncle Dan. So they've been in the water industry for a long time. So if you don't know who WaterWise is, ask your neighbor. I guarantee they probably do know who Diane Patton is. You can ask EPA, you can ask Kansas Food Water. Believe me, they do know who Diane Patton and Janelle Summerall are. We do consultation and stuff like that. We have a unique offloading capability. We cover 3 states now, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas. It's expanded very drastically in the last 2 years. And then I kind of come out and I do threat and vulnerability assessments. I do it just to come out. I don't even charge. I come out just to tell you what you need to do, okay? There is some charge for some things that you might want, but I'm a phone call away. I don't charge it, all right? This is not a sales pitch. I'm just trying to get you to understand the importance to securing your assets. That's all it is. Okay, so what are some past events? I said that there was going to be some interesting ones, and we'll go over a couple of these, but why I put our city up first is because tomorrow, as it says, tomorrow in room 201 at 10:45, our city's actually going to be speaking about their incident. I've actually partook in listening to what happened to our city. That's in my backyard because we're in Oxford, Kansas, and it happened right down the street. Suspected ransom attack happened, and it drastically changed how they had to operate. They had one guy that does all the computer stuff, and he worked his ass off to get that network back up and going. But again, when you have the mentality of it's never going to happen to me, if you have a SCADA system, get ready, okay? Because it's not just if it's going to happen to me, when can this happen? Am I ready for this to happen? In 2025, this is the reason why this is down there is in just 3 months, as it says, 65 organizations in 28 states were affected by some type of an attack, a wide or suspected activities, something, and that's all from either cyber or physical security, cyber or physical security issues that happen in water or wastewater nationwide. That's a lot. Stuff that you don't hear about, somebody's watching. Okay, and that was just in 2025. I know there's a lot more in the rest of the year, but that was a big one that pops up. There's a couple more. Again, I said I talked about the coordinated attack, disrupted up in Texas. That was one. And then the Mole Shore is another incident. That was a cyber on a SCADA system that happened. Yeah. Here's some other ones. 2025. Pennsylvania. Dismantled screens, nationwide attack. I like to put a little bit of blurbs in there about the news, urging states to strengthen cybersecurity protections. That was EPA. EPA's been pushing this for about almost 2 years now. And states have to buy in on it as well. Because it's, of course, you guys fall under KDHE's rules, right? So KDHE has to jump on board with this as well. And that's what they have done. They're starting to jump on the cyber world, and it is one of those things that it can happen to you. I want to understand that it can. It can happen to you. And be protected. Here's another one. Regular activities, operations, manual control, disruption, minimal. But again, that's attempted. If you're ready for it, it's minimal disruption. You can go right back to work, and no issues can happen. But if it's like our city, that was a lot of work for one guy, and actually all the people that worked in water, because you got to know what happens if your SCADA goes down. Can you operate? That's the big thing. Can you operate? How many wells do you have? Can I go out and flip the switch on and make sure it's going? Again, multiple systems up there. We'll show a lot of the 2024 incident. Yep. Water's to overflow. I mean, yeah, so it's a little bit of water jumping on the ground. It's not a big deal, right? But it can be scarce in some areas. I'm sorry, a couple 100,000 gallons of water on the ground can be a pretty bad deal. I put this up there because we're going to talk a little bit about information security. Again, it's another AI generation. I love AI. It's amazing. SCADA systems that I've noticed, and I want to see when people shake their head and look at me. How many SCADA systems in here have one common username and password? Oh, I see one or two. Okay. I've noticed, and I've gone out and seen it personally, where there's no password on the SCADA system, where you just shook a mouse and the system was right there in front of me, where I could go and take care of everything. They're like, the door's locked on the door, nobody knows how to get in my computer. Oh my gosh, this is dangerous. I've personally witnessed that. I've also gone out where I may have it on my phone where I can go, and I know somebody else in this room does too. And we all share the same password, the same SCADA system. And that's not our fault, which is gonna change real soon, because they got approved by the board. But that's one password where everybody can hit the button and turn it on or off. And then they don't even know how many people have access to it. Could be an old employee, could be somebody else. They know that the engineer has it. What is the engineer gonna do with it? All he needs to do is be able to see what's going on, not control your stuff, right? So saving passwords, that's why I said that, it's one of those things that, what's your password? 1, 2, 3, 4, go ahead and you can go take care of it. No, that's not what this is about, You gotta protect yourself and protect your assets. I put this in here acceptable use because these are things that, for you, as either a city municipality or water district, should think about acceptable use. Some larger cities, I guarantee you're doing some type of training on acceptable use. What can you do on the city computer, right? You should be. But there are some small districts that don't go through any kind of acceptable use. So everybody's going through Facebook. I'm ordering my groceries. I'm gonna go shop a little bit. I'm gonna go play around on the computer, play some video games. I'm gonna do whatever I can on the city's computer or watch computer. Acceptable use is more than just going to a website. It's protection. You've got to be able to protect your asset. Okay? City computer can be connected to your payment system. What if you go to the wrong website? What happens to your payment system? It's more than just water. Now we're talking about people's money, people's banking information. Okay. USB thumb drives. Okay. Anybody been in here when KRWA is giving that little thumb drive out with all the information? I went and traveled around with Darren from KRWA, and that was my big talk. Did y'all scan those USB thumb drives before you put them in the machine? Nope. Really? Is there a malware on there that I'm gonna put on my machine? I don't know. Okay. Well, I'm definitely afraid of USB drives because that's the easiest way for someone to actually put something in your machine. There's other ways to get your information or to get whatever's on that thumb drive. Cloud. Well, upload it on the cloud. I'll grab it. That's fine. Cloud services, like I said, cloud services, Microsoft, Google, Azure. There's a bunch of different ones out there, right? I say they're the most safe out there. I was not an advocate of it. When I went through my master's degree, I actually talked about how Internet of Things. Who has smart bulbs in your house? Smart bulbs or an Alexa device? Okay, those are called Internet of Things. Those were at one point the and still are the unsafe thing on your computer network. Do I have a bunch of them in my house? Absolutely. But I also have a firewall to get into my network at home. So there's certain ways you can secure your information, and that going to a cloud service is one of the most safest ways to get in there. Google for sure, and Microsoft. I'll put stomp those in a heartbeat. I have both for the company I work for. I'm also in the government cloud because a lot of you guys can actually purchase the government cloud. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's super secure. That's your information is not leaving the United States. It will stay in their servers in the United States without having to worry about some foreign actor getting your information. It's all secure in the government cloud. Email, that's another thing. I have to say, opening an attachment, sending a funny meme through email, it can sometimes have something embedded in a photo. It can. There's always metadata of some sort. So, that's the script. So here's some best practices. This puts out, like username and passwords every year, how many characters or whatever. They recently updated, I think, in 2024 with the new policy. And a password should be 16 characters. Imagine that. I think I wrote this originally 3 or 4 years ago, and it was at 12 characters. And now we're at 16. 16 for someone that can not find out what your password is. That's a CISA rule. That's so that you don't get hacked. Somebody finds your password out. The best way to do this, does anybody have a password generator on their phone or a second device of some sort? Safari, if you have an iPhone, some type of password keeper, those can generate your passwords. 100% safe. It's random code. It's not going to get hacked, I promise you. Now I'm going to foot stomp that because it will work. Those password generators work. I use like multiple. Some of them I can't get to because it's on another system, but I use them all the time to keep my passwords safe. That's where they're at. They generate them. I don't ever see what code it is, and it might be 16 plus characters with letters, numbers, random stuff. Never is a word. Always, and I put it in bold letters. You never share your password with a colleague, a friend, someone you trust. Okay. Other best practices for information security would be password, VPN. That's probably a little bit extreme. I use VPN. My computer is actually on a VPN now, even though I'm using my phone for internet. There's certain information that I have to go to get into a network. So I go through VPN for everything. But that's a way for you to jump from point A to point B to get to point C. So you actually have another stream to get down to wherever you're trying to go to. So if I want to reach back to my information, I go to a VPN that shoots back to my information. Okay, so as VPN, I travel a lot. I travel about every other week. I go to St. Louis or I'll go to Texas or I'll go somewhere to do my work. And VPN's my friend. Mobile device protection, always have a strong PIN, clean dust policy. Like I said, if you put your passwords, okay, let me ask you this question. How many people, you shouldn't have to raise your hand. How many people have a piece of paper underneath the keyboard with all passwords? I see laughs, please don't do that.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
Okay, passwords under your keyboard,
It's not anymore, is that what it was?
that's not acceptable. Just saying. I know somebody that still does it. Amy's back there laughing because we both saw it. And we laughed and we were like, oh. No problem, the speed and password is right under the keyboard. It's perfect, it's a perfect spot for it, I'll never, ever miss it. Well, it's kind of scary. If anybody goes to the well house where it is out in the middle of the country, next to a lake, where there's a lot of public that goes to there, they can break into a window, they can go in there and see that there's a computer in there that controls the whole system, and then it's right there, username and password. So anyway, the clean desk policy, that's what I say. Make sure you're just go ahead. I'll take the question.
Can you explain to me, I kind of understand why, but I don't understand how it protects, what a VPN is and why it adds a layer of protection.
Okay, the easiest way for me to explain a VPN is instead of me going directly linked to wherever I'm trying to go to. So I'm going to Oklahoma City, but instead of me going straight down the highway to Oklahoma City, I'm going to take an indirect route with my information, and I'm going to go all the way over to Joplin, Missouri, and then I'm going to go down to Oklahoma City. That's what a VPN does. It's not a direct route, it's protecting your information. A VPN can also set you up with, I'm using a VPN to get to my machine at your office. And while I'm traveling, the only way for me to get to my information on my machine is to go onto that VPN, which is direct link to my, so a lot of skaters are set up that way, is they have a VPN direct link to the skater. That's all it is. You have to go into the VPN and your IP address is tagged in that VPN.
Do you have to use the same VPN every time?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, for what I'm doing, no. I can use any VPN I want if I'm traveling. I have
Right.
multiple, okay? But if I want to go to my work information, I have one VPN to get to my information. So that VPN is connected to that. Those IP addresses in that VPN are connected to my information, and that's the only way for me to get to it. Okay, so that's the easiest way to explain it. And the only way, and I have to say this because that was a great question. VPNs are something you can set up yourself, or you can hire somebody. Find a company that'll do it. You can Google it. You can AI it. I don't care, but a VPN is actually a good thing. It is good, especially if you're traveling. I have 3 or 4 on my phone because I do travel a lot, and I try not to go on too public Wi-Fi, but if I have to, I will use a VPN, because VPNs can jump. If you use the right one, like I use Verizon. Verizon has their own VPN, and it will jump around the United States so that, hey, guess what? If I'm going to go search for my bank information, I can get on public Wi-Fi, but I'm on a VPN, and then I'll go to my bank information. Okay? Because it's going to jump to a secure site, and that secure site's going to go to my bank. Protects my bank. Okay? So that's all it is. It's a VPN. One thing I have to add, and at the end there it says report incidents. If you ever have an incident, the only way that we as professionals can do our job is if you guys report it. Call Kansas Water, call KHE, call whoever, let somebody know, hey, we had an incident, this is what happened. Okay? Something small to you may not be small to others, but it can happen. I mean, I knew of a system that got broken into that was a block away, and the other one didn't get touched. But we know that it was just, it's a nefarious activity. Some young youngsters probably out there messing around. All right, so let's talk about some information security threats. Social engineering, dumpster diving, it's basically I'm gonna go in and try to find information about you. Whatever is out there, a con artist, yeah, that's a big one. What can I find out about you? That'll help me get into tricking you into becoming a victim. Okay? Am I gonna dangle that carrot over you? Yeah. Social engineering, that's what it's for. Phishing, I think everybody in this room has probably got that random call or email that says, you've won, or I need information, or can you please point me to the right person? Or they call you a different name, and then they see if they can elicit information out of you. Okay? That's phishing attempt. I get them, well, the L's phone rings nonstop with phishing attempts of some sort to get some type of information or try to get us to buy some type of something. And that's what they do. And then ransomware. Remember how I talked about them USB drives? With the malware, that's where you get your ransomware. That ransomware can affect your system, open stuff up that you don't know, and it can run in the background and you have no idea. They get keystrokes, they can get anything you do. They'll see it. It may look like code, but it's information. It's called machine readable data, and they can use something to actually decipher everything that's going on in that machine. But that's ransomware. Easiest way. A couple years ago, I have to say this, 90% of the incidents and breaches included phishing attempts. Everybody's getting them now. I mean, it's really worse. Stuff that's going on in Israel, I don't know how many times I've gotten calls, but I also work as a contractor for the government. I get them all the time, like nonstop. My bosses get them all the time. We do a lot of cool stuff for the government, and geez, we're on the onset of war, and this is what happens. You get them nonstop. Insider threats. All right. This is probably the second most item I would say that's the biggest out here. A disgruntled employee that comes in every day because it hates his job, has something going on. It's not an insider threat, they're just a disgruntled employee. Now, if they were happy one day and then something triggered, they might be an insider threat. You might want to watch that person, okay? That pissed off employee that's just mad at the world, Amy. That's just normal, okay? But if Matt, looking at people that I know in the back, because I know that if Matt comes in to his office and I'm like, man, there's something wrong with him, I would be a little triggered. Am I wrong, Patrick? Okay. Because that guy is, if there's a water leak, he's happy. I don't know anybody that wants to jump in a hole and it's freezing cold outside. That guy does, okay? He's happy all the time. Explosive behaviors, anything that can happen. That person that comes in one day is drunk with jokes, like I'm gonna go and whatever, and then the next day you're like, you just bought a brand new Cadillac or some type of Tesla or something that was really expensive, and you're like, what did you do? What happened? No, he didn't win the lottery. His name isn't in the paper. He might have sold your information, might have did something that he shouldn't have been doing. He stole some money. That's an insider threat. Did something that just doesn't happen normally. Let's see. All right, let's talk about a little bit of vendor, because it does extend to beyond you guys. Vendors are important as well. Types of vendors out there. Anybody that's supplying you any type of stuff out there, common risk, and we'll talk about a little real world. And it's going to go on and it's going to show you some stuff. So remember that machine that I talked about didn't have a password? I snapped a picture. And I took this picture because I was sitting there and I was like, this is absolutely no way possible that I can just go on there and no password in it. I want to go back so everybody can see it real quick because it's switching. Okay. But like I said, vendors. Somebody comes sets up your SCADA, that's your responsibility. SCADA's gonna tell you, I've got everything I can to protect you and your SCADA system out there. How do you know? How do I know that that's the right chemical going in my stuff? That's a vendor, right? What else is there? I mean, anything you buy for your office, that's some type of vendor. In computers, especially SCADA, we have different rules that we have to follow. And you're talking a SCADA system, they may have an ISO certification, which is 9001. ISO 9001 is quality. A quality-based product only goes through so much things to say that that product is good for use, okay? For a software industry, I'll say Microsoft 365. They are a FedRAMP organization, which means that they are on NIST 853, and they go through a lot of security controls to say, hey, your data is going to be protected at our data center, and that data center has triple replication to make sure that your information is never lost. If there's a power outage, we have backup generators. We have a lot of different things out there, and they go through, I think at the current time is 318 different items to go through, and it might be more than that, to say that we're controlled. FedRAMP's one, your Certified Protection Professional, the one that's CPP, you don't see the rest of it. In security, we have what you call a CPP, which is Certified Protection Professional. These are the individuals that have gone to school, been certified, saying that, hey, I know how to secure your information or secure your center or your well or your office with cameras. I can put your alarm in. I can do a threat assessment. Okay. Tell you, I do not have my CPP because I went to a lot of different schools that this is all way before CPP came about. I've been doing security work where I controlled assets or secured assets and personnel and information for the government, where I did this exact same stuff, but had to go to foreign countries and to special assets in the Pacific. So CPP is a big thing. IPOCA is another one. Those are just the little keys out there. Key considerations. Encryption, policy, data security, compliance with industry standards. Hospitals have to secure your information, which is simple, right? Just as for you guys, if you have information on your machines that you don't want out there, you might want to have something like, hey, I'm buying this product, what kind of stuff is there, what the heck just happened? There we go. Access to that information, you're going to limit it. Instant response, do you have an instant response plan? Those are all things that you should probably think about if you don't have an instant response plan. I know everybody's got gas chlorine of some sort. I'll go back real quick before it does it. You can take that picture, go ahead. All right. Instant response, breach notification, something. If you have gas chlorine, you already have those. Just have a backup plan. All right, so we're going to go over a couple of case studies. Littleton, North America, and we'll talk about SCADA remote access. All right. 2025. A case study that was produced by Dragos. Dragos is a cybersecurity company that helps recover information, recover an asset or a person or a company. There was a 300-day persistent attack. So I can tell you now, if it's 300 days, that's a long time, that it went undetected, okay? This happens a lot more than what you hear about. A lot of weird stuff, even universities go through this a lot. Their information is gone. And you won't know it unless you have the right cyber folks there to actually see it. So Chinese Volt Typhoon, that was a couple years ago, about 2 years almost, a year. typhoon affected not just them, but it actually affected a lot of people. And that was all a volatile group that they were just going to get information. Nation-linked adversary inside the environment for a long time, exposure. The response that they had was they deployed that Dragos platform. The Dragos platform, what it does is it goes in and takes and finds out what's infected, what's left. They take a nice screenshot of it and put it to something, and they try to clean it all up. Okay, so that's what the Dragos software is, a threat hunter. But again, monitoring, they do a lot of different things to make sure that they're not affected. But like I said, I'm gonna show you all these case studies are all about water. I don't wanna give you something that's like, I know Cyrus and somebody else's stuff, but I'm talking about just the water industry. Or utility. Ransom disruption, here we go. Here's another one. Here we go. You probably can't see it, there's a lot of words up there, but it's a. Anybody ever hear of American Water? They're up in, I think, Fort Riley area. Okay, so they're a big operator.
ASUS, you mean?
No, American Water. No. Nope. It would be, maybe it's Leavenworth then. American Water. Yeah. Yep. American Water got hacked. They're a large operator for government. They have operators, they do all their water treatment, but they were hacked, which caused disruption. The response, what they did was a ransom attack that could spread it, ensure. The lessons learned from it though, the big thing is I put in red, your SCADA should be on its own network. Keep it separate. Do not let it be on the same Wi-Fi or linked to the same stuff as your office. With theirs, it affects, they said smaller and regional utilities are affected by this type of attack, which it came in the back end and exposed their customer data. Which, hey, I don't want my network to be exposed, but that happens to them. They're huge. American Water is really big. They have a government side, they have a commercial side. American Water's pretty big out in Missouri. They operate out there, like Branson and things like that. That was 2024. Let's go to the last one real quick and then I'll talk to you. Okay. So this one's 2024. This is the one where it affected a bunch of utilities out in Texas. Manipulated operating parameters. Yes, some of them were affected by water flow events. The SCADA set points were changed. This was all SCADA. Okay. Many operation, public exposure to SCADA dashboard. So, how did they respond? They took the SCADAs offline. And they had to go straight into manual maneuver everything. The one thing I can say is if you do have a SCADA, you better know how to run your stuff without that SCADA. Because if you don't, or have a cold machine, I used to talk about that as well. How to a SCADA backup. Because if you could take that SCADA backup machine, I'm talking a full physical machine, and plug a new machine back in, you can go right back to work and everything's back to normal. Have it backed up, so you don't lose any set points. Okay? So, if I need to swap machines, go straight back to work, I can do it, no problems, everything operates normally. It's a little bit pricey than a SCADA machine, but I would do it. Especially if you're paying for a SCADA. Have it back. But lessons learned and an exposure of your SCADA. Can you remote access to your SCADA from your phone? Am I logging in from my phone and going straight over to the SCADA and able to turn it on without, I know we can. I don't like it, but it is jumping through a secured server before we get to the SCADA. Which, okay, I'll take that. But it's internet exposed. Default passwords, that's another one. Make sure you change it off the default. So if I get it from a SCADA company, I'm changing the password. I want you to change it right then. I don't want anybody to know my password. And then when I give other people access, I want them to change their password after I give it to them. Failure points. The big one, how to run your plan manually. Don't forget how to do it. Test yourself. Tips and tricks. I always put this up there because EPA is a good asset, good resource for all kinds of cyber stuff. There's cyber guys here. CISA talks about stuff. They always have different assets out there on the internet where you can read up on certain things. If you don't know what you're doing, call somebody. It does not have to be Waterwise Enterprises. I'm busy. You can call me, okay? But call somebody. Have them help you. A cyber person that knows what they're doing, okay? That's all I ask. And I don't want you to be that victim. That's my big thing. Find a consultant. Any questions? I think that's long enough. Any questions? I'll stick around for a few minutes. I appreciate the very first part is always the best part. I did the demo, so I can show you.
I have a question.
Go for it.
We're a small town, and we're still getting on our knees to read everything, but we're starting to work our way towards the system. Is it best for us, in practice, just to set up our SCADA system where it's read-only, operate-only, and not let the public have, see the water and stuff, with all the whistles? Or would it be best for us just to keep it inside the city only?
For your SCADA? Okay, so SCADA shouldn't be connected to your building at all.
Well, there's systems out there where you can allow the public to see the data.
On the SCADA system?
On
Okay.
their side, you can see their numbers, they can see what they're operating.
Okay, so that's different. Okay, SCADA for me would be I'm controlling valves and all that stuff, so.
So would it be better for us to go to a system that's, again, small town, where it's only, we're just seeing the data, we're inputting, we still keep it semi-manual?
No, the read-only is fine. It's not a big threat there because it's only meters. Okay, and that's different information.
No, but I mean, in my well houses and stuff where I would be doing stuff, would it be better to keep it manual than just watching the dashboard?
Anything manual is better, yeah.
Yeah, so it is better to do it that way. So it'd be cheap.
Yeah, anything manual is better. I know some people that like SCADA. I'm definitely afraid of it because unless it's secured right, you're vulnerable. Okay, so that's a big thing. Any other questions? Appreciate your time. I'll be around for a little bit. You can come by our booth. It's almost beer garden time, so it's been a pleasure.